Hello, everyone, and welcome to another backstage interview at the Metals Investor Forum. I'm joined for this conversation by David Stein of Kuya Silver. Kuya is certainly, the story of Kuya is focused on the Bethania mine in Peru, but in the last few months, there was news of another acquisition in Ontario. And I got a bunch of questions about that. What does it mean for Kuya? But I wanted to turn that over to David because I think, to me, that acquisition sort of fit in with the bigger picture story for Kuya that you've always told me. But sometimes, oddly, that bigger picture gets a little bit lost in everybody's focus on the details.
Yeah, well, you're right. We think it's a perfect fit with our strategy, which is kind of focusing on high grade, low capex mining and building our silver production. And there are opportunities to do that in Peru, but this project came to us, as a spin-off of a non-core asset, and it was just too good to pass up, we felt. So we're very excited about it. I mean, it is certainly earlier stage than Bethania, no question about it. And Bethania will continue to be our flagship and our corporate focus for the next year plus. But in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years, I could see us building a resource at in the Kerr Lake area in Ontario. Doing a mine plan to get access to a vein or multiple of these high grade silver veins, and getting into production, something in the same ballpark as what we're doing in Peru. Start off with, I guess, depending on the grade, 2 or 3 million ounces of silver a year, and then look to keep drilling, exploring, and grow from there. And, we like that kind of strategy because it's low capex. We don't take huge capital risks or technical risks by doing that. And, but we can be, each of these operations, whether it's Peru or Ontario, can be meaningful silver producers onto themselves.
And you actually summarize this concept or a related concept in your presentation. You have a slide showing how the major silver miners that we have in our sector, they all had to start somewhere, and they all started with an asset that was not particularly different from Bethania, and then they kept adding on additional ones. And Bethania certainly fits that and is obviously on its way to. You want to just revisit the Bethania so people can understand what that starter asset looks like in terms of launching you towards that goal?
Sure. So it's a high grade former producer, very recent former producer that was put on care and maintenance in 2016, so 5 years ago now. And we've been implementing a plan to expand it and then put it back into production. And the expansion involves the construction of a new plant at site. Well, actually, a first ever plant at site. It's always been a toll milling operation where they would mine this very high grade silver or polymetallic ore and then truck it somewhere else. And it was up to 200 kilometers away in some cases where they would truck this ore. And as you can imagine, you incur very high costs with the extra trucking. Also the toll milling, you have to pay them something to do that for you. And all those costs add up and they eat into your margins. So by building a plant at site, it's a relatively, modest project for us, but it will reduce the cost significantly, give us more control over the production, increase recovery, which will also help us increase production. So it's a great thing to do. We have the resources to do it, fortunately, the expertise to do it. And so we're very excited. I mean, based on the historical head grades of the mine, which we see no reason why they're going to be different for us. We should be able to produce in and around 2 million ounces a year to start. That's management estimates. Mm-hmm. And then we'll look to grow from there, as we're also doing a drill program at the same time, sort of a parallel track, developing the mine and exploration at the same time. And while we're doing that, build up enough resources to justify a second expansion. So, if you were to ask me where I see Bethania going beyond 2022, I think we'll end up doing another 50 or 100% expansion on top of what we're going to do next year. So I see it, I see that operation being a tremendous flagship for us, very low cost, very profitable, and a great place to start growing the company.
And so Bethania, great starter asset, well on its way towards production, lots of things already completed there. Kerr, early stage asset, but similar concept, a great opportunity. You're just getting going there. You talk about certainly a vision of making Kuya into, a moderate sized silver producer by, putting together a bunch of these assets. How much time do you spend on the search for those assets, and where are you looking? The story of Bethania is a bit of a classic Peruvian story where an undercapitalized operator didn't have the money to build a plant, and so it didn't work. And that's not unusual in lots of places. Talk a little bit about where you're looking and how you plan to find the next Bethania or Kerr.
Yeah, in Latin America, definitely, that is something that you do run into. These kind of undercapitalized, privately held mines, and so we feel like it is something where we could find another opportunity like that, and it is something that I spend a fair bit of time on. Although I would say, we do have our hands full at the moment with putting Bethania into production. So it's maybe not as much of a focus as it was 6 months ago,
right.
But I think we'll see how the market plays out, and then with over the next few months as we de-risk Bethania further. But it's something we're definitely open to. We've got our ears on the ground. We've got a great team in Peru that gets a lot of good intelligence, market intelligence that you wouldn't sort of get sitting in Canada. And so I'm optimistic that we can grow again in Peru. Got to be the right price and all that, but the opportunities are there. And we're sort of open to other, let's call it low risk districts or low risk jurisdictions in North and South America. Mm-hmm. As long as it's a primary silver project, we're open to looking at it in the longer term. And I wouldn't be surprised. We might be able to slot one project in between Bethania and Kerr. There's enough time there. Mm-hmm. that there could be another mine in between that happens in between there. So we'll see what happens.
For sure, there is an opportunity there because of the early stage of Kerr, and that on the ground intelligence that you speak to is a huge part of how these things work, right? You have to be there. You have to have your networks of geologists and prospectors and people who are just in the game in a country, and they're the ones who realize that so-and-so is running out of money and this asset is not therefore available. So you never know when it might just show up in your inbox or on your telephone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look, we're still, relatively early in our public company life, the journey that just started in October. And, we think we're still very undervalued. So I think, where we're going to find value is going to be other kind of private undiscovered things like Bethania. In the future, once we've got a $400 or $500 million market cap, then we can look at other things, spin-offs of public companies and that kind of thing. But yeah, for now, that's our hunting ground, and we do see opportunities there. We're very excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, silver is certainly an exciting arena to be in right now. People are paying a lot of attention. So good luck with all of the balls that you're juggling, because there's a bunch of them, and I look forward to keeping up with the news as it comes out. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Gwen.